In the previous part of the chapter, you have seen about water pollution, all right, and you have seen how Ganga, the most famous rivers of India, how it is getting polluted. And you have also seen a short example of Kanpur, that city in Uttar Pradesh, that how there the river Ganga is being polluted. So don't limit yourself to just one city or one example. You can observe this everywhere, all around you. All right. So in this part, we will be discussing about the causes, the main causes of water pollution. How would the disposal of garbage, etc., affect the living organisms in the river? All right. So what happens in seas and oceans and even in rivers, ponds, lakes? There are some aquatic animals living there. There are some aquatic plants that are dependent on their water body for their survival. So if you release disposal of garbage, all right. So if you dispose of your garbage inside that river, you are basically releasing harmful wastes, all right, or you are releasing harmful chemicals depending upon the kind of garbage you are exposing the river to. So the river, the water body, it has dissolved oxygen, right? The river has dissolved oxygen, and the aquatic plants or the aquatic animals, they consume oxygen that is dissolved inside the water. So naturally, if you're altering the constituent, the contents of water, and you are contaminating the water by harmful waste, introducing harmful waste, and by introducing harmful chemicals, you are ultimately allowing those plant bodies, you're ultimately allowing those animal bodies to take up, to consume, to inhale that, or consume basically those harmful waste, those harmful chemicals along with this dissolved oxygen. Okay, so you're somewhere or the other allowing them to be exposed to these harmful waste, these harmful chemicals, because these plants, these animals, they're dependent on that dissolved oxygen. So naturally, when they're going to consume that, they are either going to fall ill, or as you can see here in this animation, if that waste is so very poisonous to them, then immediately you can see here those fishes, they are coming into contact of that barrel, and whatever the constituent is that in that barrel is, it is very poisonous, right? So as soon as they are near the vicinity of this barrel, and whatever the liquid that is being released, they immediately die. So yes, it is very, very harmful for the living organisms in the river. Chemical contamination of water. The industries, whatever effluents are, whatever chemical toxic waste are being released by the industrial power plants, they are leading to the pollution of water. Example, oil refineries, right? Paper factories, textile, sugar mills, chemical factories. So all these factories, some chemicals. You remember that term refining when we were discussing coal, when we were discussing petroleum, or other term is also there, processing, right? So when we are using the term refining, when we are using the processing, means we are subjecting that raw material to some chemical agents, to the action of some chemical agents, so that we can get other pure substances out of that crude material, out of that raw material, right? So often there is the use of chemicals, you know that, right? So naturally, when you are using water as a medium, or water as any other source, and you are, or even though you're not using water, but you're simply using chemicals, and you're disposing that harmful chemicals, chemical mixture, chemical compound into the water bodies, like you can see here in this picture, then that will lead to chemical contamination of water. Okay, and the chemicals that are released into the water, the important ones, they are arsenic, lead, and fluorides, which lead to toxicity in plants and animals. Therefore, it is very important that there is a regulation, or there is a proper treatment of the waste. Whatever waste, the harmful pollutants, they are already, they should be beforehand, they should be initially, extracted from that waste, from that effluent, and then they should be released into the water bodies. Okay, so that lesser and lesser risk there is for the aquatic plants and animals. So industries are supposed to treat the waste before discharging it into the waters, but quite often the rules are not followed. That is why we are having pollution all around us, right? Because if every one of us were so responsible towards the environment, then naturally the state would not have occurred in the first place. But sadly, we are not. Therefore, it is very imperative. Therefore, it is very imperative that you understand this, that this should happen. This treatment of waste, this treatment of harmful chemicals, this should happen before those are getting released into the river bodies. Is soil also affected by impure water? Yes, the answer is the most definite yes. soil is also affected by impure water, because you know that there is something known as underground water. Means that underground water, and you know the sources of getting that underground water through wells and tube wells, right? So this underground water is ultimately below this layer of soil, right? So if you are introducing impure water into the soil, all right, means we are basically releasing harmful toxic pollutants, all right, into the soil. So the one effect of soil getting affected by impure water is that soil is ultimately that harmful pollutants is, or that impure water is going to seep inside the soil layer, and it's going to pollute the underground water. So this is one effect, that yes, soil is getting affected. The other is that when you release impure water inside the soil layers, or when you introduce harmful pollutants to those soil layers, what is happening, that the pH level of the soil, the acidic level, okay, or the basic level of the soil is getting disturbed, all right. So whatever nutrients that were present inside the soil earlier, on the introduction of these harmful pollutants, their acid or basic level is getting disturbed. So naturally the solubility of those solubility of those nutrients is going to get disturbed. What I mean is that whatever nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, you know, these inorganic elements, they're important for the plant growth, right? That is why we have either the organic fertilizer, if you remember the compost pit that we were talking about, or the chemical fertilizers that you get from the markets, right? So these chemicals, such as nitrogen, such as phosphorus, such as sulfur, they are basically they are provided to the plant bodies. How? In a solution of water. All right. So they are provided to the plant bodies in a solution of water. So when you are introducing these harmful pollutants or this impure water to the soil, A, you are polluting the underground water, okay, and B, you are rendering the soil acidic or basic, okay, means you are interrupting with the natural constituent or the natural pH level of that soil. And also C, which is a subtopic of this, you can say that it affects the solubility of nutrients, important nutrients to the plants, such as nitrogen, sulfur, etc. You are affecting the solubility, because when the acid or the basic level of the soil is getting disturbed by these harmful pollutants, naturally the ability of the nutrients to get dissolved inside the soil or inside the water, that is also getting disrupted, all right. So ultimately the plants are going to suffer. So yes, soil does get affected by impure water. How do pesticides and weedicides cause water pollution? Pesticides and weedicides are used for the on the plant body to get rid of infestations by microorganisms, right, and other organisms that may pose damage to the crops. All right, but when you are introducing pesticides and weedicides to plant, ultimately they are getting seeped inside the soil. So all that will happen. What I have explained during the previous slide, that soil would get contaminated by the excess amount of pesticides and weedicides, right? But naturally, when you are watering the plant, means you are irrigating the plant, and you are also introducing pesticides. So that is going to cause water pollution as well. Means whatever water you are irrigating, whatever water you are providing to the plant, you are then introducing these harmful chemicals inside the water, right? So you are ultimately providing contaminated water to your plants. Okay, so all these chemicals dissolve in water and are washed into water bodies from the fields. So that I mean, the first part would be that you are introducing harmful chemicals along with the water, and you are feeding that to the plant body. So yes, that is going to, you know, protect your plants from infestations, all right, because you have no other choice. But if you are overdoing it, right, if you are overdoing it, or if you are introducing an excess of pesticides or weedicides, then you are going to cause the water pollution in the vicinity of those plants body, because those phenomenon those you can say things are going to happen, which I have already mentioned in the previous slide, that these toxic chemicals, they are going to seep inside the soil, and they are going to then alter the composition of the soil. They will either make the soil acidic, or they may make it basic, and they may hamper with the nutrient solubility of the soil. So this is the factor 1. The factor 2 is that after you are irrigating your plants, say if you are not overdoing it, all right, say if you're not overdoing it, but you are putting the pesticides and the weedicides in moderate quantities, okay, but ultimately you are irrigating, you are washing those plants with layers of water, right? So ultimately, or ultimately what will happen, the excess of water in that cropped area, in that farm area, is going to be released, is going to be channeled to other water bodies, right? So already you have introduced chemicals to those water. So when that excess of water, when that surplus of water will leave that farm area, it will be going to be washed inside the water bodies from the fields. Okay. So when it will be going to washed inside the water bodies from the fields, it will either pollute the groundwater, or if it is being directly released into some other water source or other source of water bodies like rivers, ponds, lakes, then it will be causing water pollution there as well. So there are two things here. First, if you do an excess, if you put an excess of pesticide or weedicide, it will be going to alter the soil composition. Okay, and say if you're doing in moderate terms, then also it will pollute the groundwater one way or the other, because the soil is, I mean, the water is ultimately seeping into the ground, right? And if you're irrigating it on a very a sufficient quantity, okay, then some of the water, it may run off to other water bodies, it may channel off to other water bodies, ultimately contaminating or polluting that source of water as well. How does sewage contaminated water cause diseases? So sewage contaminated water, those toxic water that is released out of industries, or those toxic water that is released out of our homes as well, okay, they contain bacteria, viruses, fungi and parasites, because our fecal matter is there, okay. Yes, here it is. The bacteria present in the feces of mammals are indicators of the quality of water. Okay, so those bacteria, ultimately our fecal matter is our toxic waste, right? And if you're releasing toxic waste into the water bodies, then definitely it is going to cause diseases. Diseases such as cholera, typhoid and jaundice. If water has these bacteria, that means it has been contaminated by fecal matter. Okay, that means it has been contaminated by that bacteria, and if such water is used by us, definitely is going to cause various infections, because in the first place our body is releasing that fecal matter, because the feces are our toxic waste. Okay, the feces are our way of eliminating the toxic waste inside our body. So if we are introducing these feces inside the water, and unfortunately if you're consuming that source of water itself, then naturally we are going to catch diseases. We are going to cause, we are going to catch infections. Okay, infections, diseases such as cholera, typhoid and jaundice. Can groundwater get polluted by sewage? How? Yes, groundwater can get polluted by sewage, and we have already seen this. And I had explained to you in a lot of details, and I'll be just going a little bit, I'll be summarizing basically. So yes, groundwater can get polluted by sewage, because this sewage has harmful waste inside water, right? Harmful waste inside water, and if we are allowing this sewage water to run over land, if we are allowing this sewage water to say run over land, then we are basically causing this sewage water to seep inside the soil, or to seep down inside the land. And when this impure water, if you may remember from that question, when this impure water will seep down inside the land, or will seep down inside the soil, then it is going to ultimately reach the groundwater and pollute it. I have discussed it in very minute detail in the previous slide. So I am just summarizing this, that yes, groundwater can be polluted by sewage, because sewage has harmful waste inside water. And when you allow this sewage water to run over land, or to run over soil, then it will seep down into the land, it will seep down into the soil. And what is beneath those soil layers? There is groundwater. So ultimately it's going to reach the groundwater and it's going to pollute it. Did you know that hot water can also be a pollutant? I told you, right, that water is also used as a cooling agent. Okay, so in order to cool certain chemicals, metals, or other compounds, water is introduced as a cooling agent in certain pipe sort of structure. So if so, say here is your hot compound that is supposed to be cool. So a rectangular, a circular, or any other shape, such shapes or such pipes is a network of pipes is created such that water can be allowed to run around it. So there will be an inlet of water. Say if this is an inlet of water and this is the outlet of water. Okay, so here the water is entering into this channel, okay, where it will circle around this hot material so that it can allow to be cooled down, and this is the outlet where the hot water is exiting. All right, so water is used as a cooling agent, and obviously this outlet will contain hot water because this water, it is being used as a cooling agent, means it is going to absorb the heat of this compound, rendering that material cool but itself hot, right? So the product that you will be getting at the outlet will be hot water, and when you are introducing that hot water directly into the water bodies, it will raise the temperature of the water body, adversely affecting plants and animals living inside it. So if you can see in this picture, if you are directly introducing that hot water to the plant body, then whatever aquatic plants and animals that are living inside that plant body, they are going to be damaged, they are going to be adversely affected, and in extremes of cases, of course, they can easily die. So you should always treat this hot water also. Many people perform their domestic activities like bathing, washing clothes, utensils, etc. in these sources of river. I had explained you this while I was discussing, while I had begun the discussion of water pollution with you, that there are many people, especially in the rural areas, there are certain people who still bathe, who still wash their clothes, who still bathe their young ones, okay, and who even defecate, forget about bathing, but they even defecate, they wash the utensils, etc. So this should not be done because this pollute river bodies. These pollute our fresh sources of water, and these are the major causes of water pollution. So in this part, we have discussed what leads to water pollution. So now that we know what is water pollution, now that we know what are the causes of water pollution, next we will be learning about the steps that we can take in order to curb and in order to purify the water that has already been polluted.